The food of Sudan is heavily influenced by location, in a part of Africa which boasts tropical rainforests, savannas, and many lakes and rivers in the south. Although varied from area to area, most traditional dishes remain simple and natural. Of course, the local cuisine has evolved thanks to the influences of its neighbours and traders. Join us as we explore the cultural flavours of Sudan. Meeting the Red Sea in the north and neighbouring Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Chad and several other African nations, Sudan has taken influences from all points of the compass. Popular ingredients in Sudanese cooking are sesame seeds, nuts, rice, wheat, meat and fish.
Such ingredients, obviously meat, vegetables, spices in general, but obviously you need to know how the spices being measured in the food and which spice to use with what kind of food to get that Sudanese flavor, you know what I mean? Because everybody can see the spices we're using in our cooking is similar to any other spices in the world, but it's a secret that you have to use certain spices with certain food, with certain meat, with certain different vegetables, and yeah, that's how you can identify food different from other different culture, yes.
In Sudan, it is customary to offer guests generous hospitality. This is especially true with Islamic Muslims, who are instructed to do this by religious teachings. As a result, it is commonplace for Sudanese to play host to large banquets featuring many dishes and great quantities of food. It is traditional to serve these banquets on very large silver platters. These trays can carry many plates and are obviously designed to impress diners with their host's generosity.
Banquet is very important in the Sudanese culture, like because everyone naturally come and sit together. This is part of our day, part of our culture actually, literally. You have to sit together with the family, you cannot eat by yourself. So banquet is a way for mom come from work, the kids come from work as well, from school, sorry. And about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's what the dinner served. That's called dinner back home, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, between 2:30 and 2 o'clock. So make sure, everybody have to be present in the dinner table that time. It's nobody say, I can't eat now or I can eat later, I'm not hungry. It's kind of like routine, you know? So 2:30, everyone come home, the dinner is served, and everyone eat together at 2:30.
On this platter, we see a selection of dishes that would form the basis of a traditional Sudanese banquet. This beef dish features an array of spices commonly used across the region and is often eaten with hummus, bread and vegetables. Apparently originating in the highlands of neighbouring Ethiopia, okra has grown in popularity in many parts of the world. It is a staple vegetable for the Sudanese and highly valued for its tolerance to the harshest of growing conditions. Broad beans are another staple, and these are grown in abundance across the region. They are often stored dry and soaked before being cooked in numerous ways. They are a tasty and extremely healthy essential Sudanese ingredient. Salads are also loved by people of the region and will feature any number of seasonal produce. And any meal would not be complete without a dessert, and this banquet is no different. These are fatir, a traditional donut topped with caster sugar and commonly eaten with dried fruit. Today on Cultural Flavours, we will show you how to prepare a Sudanese banquet, just like this delicious feast, so you may offer some generous hospitality to some guests of your very own. This simple meat dish is prepared right across the country and is a favourite thanks to its spicy African flavour.
The flavour is it's just more kind of like, it's spicy. It's not as spicy as heat. It's more like lots of taste into it. You know, we add heaps of different ingredients like ginger, onion, garlic, cumin, turmerics. Just every spice in the world we have back home, and the way we roasted spices and get this aroma out of them, you know, that's the secret of Sudanese cuisine cooking, yeah.
Meat plays a central role in this dish, and we've chosen to cook this traditional dish with some cuts of beef. Lamb is a good alternative, but if you can get it, goat will give you the most authentic Sudanese culinary experience. Of course, you'll need an onion and a few cloves of garlic to create a great base for your dish, as well as a range of commonly available spices such as cinnamon, bay leaves and black pepper. Like many Sudanese dishes, the secret to this dish is all in the preparation. First, chop a brown onion in half and peel away its skin. Then, roughly slice both halves of the onion and place these in a frying pan. Take a few cloves of fresh garlic, place them on your chopping board and crush them with the side of a blade. Quickly peel away the skin to reveal the bulbs. Chop your garlic finely and then add this to the frying pan along with your onion. Place the frying pan in front of you and get ready to add some spice. First, we need to add 1 heaped teaspoon of cumin powder. Take some chili powder and sprinkle about 1 teaspoon over the ingredients. Next, we need to add a couple of good pinches of ground black pepper, and then a single teaspoon of turmeric powder. A few dried bay leaves with their distinctive flavour and fragrance will enhance the taste and aroma of the meat as it cooks. A teaspoon of crushed cinnamon will infuse the meat with a slight sweetness. Liberally sprinkle a generous pinch of salt over all the ingredients and then finally throw about 1 teaspoon of mixed spices into the pan.
As we remember, we added all the spices earlier. Now we're going to add the meat to the ingredients, and we add some lemon juice and water. The reason why I'm putting the water last, just to see my level of meat, how fine it is. And it's good to put some little bit of water just for the start of the cooking.
The cooking process is very easy. Simply place your frying pan over a hot flame and allow the ingredients to cook in the pan as they are. You do not need to stir the ingredients. After a few minutes, turn the heat down low and cover the pan. Leave simmering for an hour at the very least, stirring occasionally. Then, finally, remove the lid and stir in some slithers of fresh red capsicum. The dish is now ready to serve. So there we have it, traditional Sudanese beef that is easy to prepare and flavours that will give you the taste of Africa. Coming up on Cultural Flavours, a classic traditional African dish that has evolved into a famous Louisiana stew. Okra is native to Western Africa and is valued for its edible green fruits, which are sometimes called ladies' fingers. African migrants introduced okra to the US, and it is the forerunner to the famous gumbo from the Deep South.
It's very popular. Okra dish is vegetables, of course, you know, and it's very popular. And we have about 3 different varieties of okra back home in Sudan. and each variety has certain type of dishes being cooked. You know, I have a longer one, a shorter one, and and a darker one. The darker one is like green, dark color. It's more made for being dried, and it's being ground like a powder, and they use it as with the stock, as a soup, you know. And the longest one, obviously, use it as a vegetarian, you know, with tomato paste and some garlic and onion on all ingredients, and you can use it for cooking with chicken or lamb or beef, whatever you like, yeah. But it is very, very popular dish in Sudan. Okra, everyone eats okra back home, yeah.
For this recipe, the ingredients are simple. Of course, you'll need about 1 kilo of fresh okra. Alternatively, you can often buy frozen okra from many Asian supermarkets. Onion and garlic are staples of Sudanese cooking, and they are also used in this delicious and very satisfying dish. The dish calls for just 2 spices, cumin powder and black pepper. Sudanese kishra or bread is simply made by mixing 500 grams of flour to 1 litre of water. Ghee or clarified butter is also added at the end of the cooking process, as can jibna, which is a soft white cheese that originates from the Middle East. The first thing we need to do is prepare an onion. Chop a brown onion in half, peel it and then roughly slice it like so. Then place it in a saucepan. Take some garlic, then using the flat side of your knife, crush the garlic with your hand. You can now easily peel away the old skin to reveal the fresh bulbs. Finely chop the garlic and add it to the saucepan with the onion. Now we can prepare our fresh okra. Take a small handful and, one by one, chop them into small pieces. Once you cut all the okra, pick them up and place them into the saucepan. Grab a generous bunch of fresh dill herbs and roughly chop them. Place these also into the saucepan.
Okay, we just added all the fresh ingredients. I'm going to add some spices to the okra. Okay, I've got some black pepper. Obviously, black pepper give a bit of flavor, a bit of heat as well. And got some cumin, and cumin, of course, full of aroma.
Add some more flavor with some cinnamon and season with salt. Finally, pour about half a litre of stock over the ingredients. We're using the stock from the meat dish we cooked earlier. To cook the okra, place the saucepan on a high heat and bring to a boil. Whilst that's simmering, we can start cooking the Sudanese bread, which is known as kishra. This bread is made simply by mixing flour and water, and as we see here, it is cooked on a large hot plate. The mixture is first poured onto the hot plate and then evenly spread using a spatula. The bread will begin to cook almost immediately, and it's not long before we have to turn it over to cook the other side. In just a few short minutes, the bread is ready to eat. By now your okra should be cooked through and is very soft to the touch. Now we need to blend all the contents of the saucepan together. We're using a traditional handmade blending tool from Sudan, but you could use an electric blender if you don't have one of these on hand. Finally, the last stage is to add about 1 cup of ghee to the pan and then stir well until the butter has completely dissolved. To serve this dish, place a couple of pieces of bread into the bottom of a deep-sided bowl. Then pour the boiled okra over the bread. Bamia mafruka is best topped with chopped dill and served as an accompaniment or as part of a Sudanese banquet. Even eaten on its own, this hearty vegetable stew is another very satisfying example of African cuisine at its best. Broad beans are one of the longest cultivated legumes, and they were even deposited with the dead in ancient Egypt. They are an important source of protein and are well regarded across most parts of the African continent.
Broad beans is a very significant dish in Sudan. Everybody eat it every single day without any question asked. Like example, like in the school, in primary school, I mean that's a dish we've been served in the school after the first morning meal, like after 10:30, you know. Even it's higher protein, kind of like you get you sleepy, but it's just people get used to it up there to eat it. And normally we eat it for breakfast, and we eat it maybe later on, the last meal before everyone go to sleep. You know, we mix it with beautiful sesame oil. We crush some feta cheese in there. We crush some maybe boiled eggs in there as well, and yeah, it's just part of our daily diet.
Of course, the main ingredient of this recipe are broad beans, also known as faba beans in some parts of the world. They are a popular bean that grows well in all conditions, making it perfect for the Sudanese region. As with most dishes, onion and garlic are fundamental ingredients, as is the spice cumin. When cooking fol, it is important that you let dried beans soak in water for around 24 hours. Simply place the dry beans into a large mixing bowl and cover with water. Put them aside for later. You'll also need to roughly chop a medium onion and finely dice some fresh garlic. When you're ready to cook, heat a large frying pan to a medium to high temperature. Place some beans into the pan and include some of the water that the beans have been soaking in. After about a minute and a half, the beans should be cooked through, so remove the pan from the heat and pour them into a bowl for later. Now add generous amounts of oil into the saucepan and heat through on a medium flame. Place the onion we chopped earlier into the oil and allow to gently brown. Then add the garlic. Stir well and let the garlic cook through. Add the beans, which should have absorbed all the water that they were cooked in, to the pan. Also, sprinkle a very generous pinch of cumin powder over all the ingredients and season with a good amount of salt. Toss the ingredients over in the pan and then allow everything to cook thoroughly, absorbing the spices. Next, add the juice of half a lemon and toss again to thoroughly combine all the ingredients. Simply garnish with a few sprigs of coriander and serve with any main meal. Sudanese fol is a healthy dish that will truly inspire you to explore the world of traditional African cuisine. Next on Cultural Flavours, we prepare a simple, delicious, sweet African treat. Fatia is the name that the Sudanese give to their traditional sweet donuts. They're simple to create and taste delicious, especially if you're lucky enough to eat them while they're still hot from the pan.
The fatia is a type of biscuit we cook back home, and normally we use it for special occasion back home. But we eat it every day if my mom kind of like cooked enough. Been stored in the kitchen, we just like eat it as a treat every morning with a cup of tea before we go to school, you know. But mainly cook for special occasion like wedding, circumcision, or anniversary, stuff like that. Or you have guests in the house that coming from far away, right? That's the first thing you're gonna present to the guests. With a cup of tea, it's like normal other culture as well. They use anything for like biscuits or soft drinks or to bring to their guests. So that's what we bring to our guests first in the table and during having a chat with some loved one come from far away.
Making fatia could not be simpler, as they are made from only a few basic ingredients. Of course, you'll also need some water to mix everything together. First, take a large mixing bowl and fill with about 400 grams of flour. This recipe requires a lot of eggs, and you will need to crack as many as 5 eggs into a small well in the middle of the flour. Add about 250 grams of ghee, pouring slowly round the rim of the bowl. Now with a spatula, combine the ingredients together. Begin with the eggs and then fold the flour from the outside of the bowl into the middle, turning all the time. Once the dough reaches this consistency, you'll need to slowly pour a glass of fresh milk over the mixture. Then mix the ingredients a little longer until it turns back into a light dough. Lightly flour your worktop and tip out the dough. With your hands, knead the dough thoroughly. This will take some time, so get working. Make sure you knead the dough well, as you have to get plenty of air into the mixture to keep the finished fatia nice and light.
Okay, we're going to flour our bench, as you see. And this is the dough we prepared earlier. And we're going to roll it with a rolling pin to about 3 centimeters thickness. So it's going to take a while to get that out. It's quite thick. Okay, as you see, we've been rolled to about 3 centimeters thickness, and I thought we're going to cut it.
With a sharp knife, score down the dough vertically like so. Then cut out several pieces with triangular and diamond shapes. Put them to one side for later. Cooking fatia is quick and simple. Fill a large frying pan and heat it to a high temperature. Carefully place a few fatia into the oil and allow them to fry. After about just 30 seconds, turn them over with some tongs. Once they have turned golden brown on both sides, they are ready. To serve, simply sprinkle with liberal amounts of caster sugar and lashings of ice cream. They're best eaten while still warm at the end of a traditional Sudanese banquet. The food of Sudan is simple but flavoursome. Even with influences from many other regions, the people of Sudan have maintained their own distinct and delicious cuisine. We hope we have tempted you to try these dishes at home. They are easy to prepare, the ingredients can be found in most regions, and you can cook them quickly without too much preparation.